A baby's laughter echoing in the distance, Amy standing still, eyes wide, heart racing. The camera pans to a worn-out photo of Tai Bordon, and beside it, a brand new pair of tiny boots. That's all it took, just a few seconds in the Heartland Season 19 trailer to send fans into an emotional frenzy. Could this be the moment we've all been waiting for? The Borden family? Growing again? For years, Heartland fans have held onto the memory of Tai Bordon, the man who brought warmth, courage, and balance to the Fleming Borden family. Since his shocking death in Season 14, the series has tried to find its rhythm again. Some would say it's struggled. But now, just when many believed the show had settled into a slow, emotional drift, the Season 19 trailer dropped like a bolt of lightning, reawakening the fandom with a single electrifying question. Is Amy expecting? It wasn't a long scene. In fact, the moment could have easily been missed, but fans are trained to notice every detail. A short glimpse of Amy holding her stomach, a subtle smile she shares with Lindy while watching old family videos, and then the real spark. A blink and you miss it shot of a baby ultrasound resting on Jack's desk, tucked beneath his cowboy hat. No words, no explanation, just symbols. But Heartland has always been about what's left unsaid, about moments that speak louder than dialogue. The internet didn't take long to explode. Forums lit up with theories. Was this a flashback? A dream sequence? Or had Amy truly decided to move forward with her life and open her heart again? Could it be Nathan, the kind and gentle rancher introduced seasons ago, who finally helped Amy step out of the shadows of grief? Or is something even deeper at play here? A secret Amy's been carrying, not just emotionally, but physically. What makes this twist so powerful is that it doesn't feel forced. Heartland, at its core, has always been about family, healing, and second chances. And the idea that Amy, after so much loss and silence, might be on the verge of starting a new chapter isn't just exciting, it's healing. It's a sign that life at Heartland doesn't stop. It evolves. Some longtime viewers are cautious, though. They've been burned before, teased with big developments that never quite paid off. Amy's emotional journey since Ty's death has been criticized for being stagnant, more reactive than active. The trailer, however, offers a new kind of energy. The lighting is warmer, the pace quicker, even the background music carries a sense of hope rather than sorrow. These are deliberate choices, signals that the writers may finally be ready to push the story forward, to let Amy become more than a widow and a mother. And then there's Lindy. She's no longer the toddler running around the ranch. In the trailer, she's shown riding her horse with quiet confidence, her eyes mirroring Ty's strength. In one scene, she asks Amy a simple question. Do you think Daddy can see us? Amy doesn't answer, but she looks up at the sky, tears in her eyes. It's in that moment that the audience knows. Something has shifted. Something big is coming. And it might not just be about Amy. Some eagle-eyed fans noticed another major hint hidden in plain sight, a second pair of children's boots different in size from Lindy's. Could this mean Amy is preparing for more than just her own future? Could we be looking at a family expansion in a much broader sense? Perhaps a foster child, a relative returning, or something completely unexpected. The trailer ends with a line that has haunted fans since it aired. Some bonds never die. They grow. Delivered in Amy's voice, this single sentence has sparked endless speculation. Is she talking about her love for Ty? Her connection with Lindy? Or is it something even more profound? The beginning of a new legacy? What's clear is this. Heartland Season 19 isn't playing it safe. The trailer dares to hint at growth, change, and maybe even rebirth. Whether that comes in the form of a baby, a new relationship, or Amy stepping into a fuller version of herself. It's exactly the kind of emotional fire fans have been craving. The question now is, can the show deliver? As fans rewatched the trailer frame by frame, something became very clear. The Season 19 teaser wasn't just emotional, it was intentional. Every shot, every line, every background detail seemed to be crafted with purpose. And if you look closely, you'll see the writers are telling us something big is coming for the Borden family, something we've never seen before. Let's start with Amy's transformation. For several seasons, she's been quietly going through the motions, working with horses, raising Lindy, and staying grounded at Heartland. But emotionally, she's remained locked in a state of quiet grief. The light in her eyes had dimmed. Her smile, once effortless, became guarded. But now, in Season 19's trailer, That spark is back. And it's not just about Tai, it's about something or someone new. There's a particular scene that stands out. Amy is seen placing her hand over a photo album. Not the usual one filled with her and Tai, but a new one, still blank. She lingers there for a moment, then slowly opens the cover. The symbolism here is hard to ignore. A new chapter is being written, literally. A chapter that doesn't erase Tai's memory but adds to it. A chapter that honors the past while looking bravely toward the future. Then comes the most talked about frame in the entire trailer, a crib being assembled in the loft above the barn. It's quick, no dialogue, just Jack and Tim working together, tools in hand, faces serious but calm. It's the kind of scene that speaks volumes without saying a word. Who is the crib for? Is it Amy's? Is someone else in the family expecting? Or could it be that Lindy is helping prepare for a new foal, and the scene is simply a misdirect? The possibilities are endless, but the emotional tone says otherwise. This isn't about animals. This is about blood, love, and legacy. But the trailer doesn't just focus on Amy, it broadens the scope. Lou is shown talking on the phone, pacing nervously around the house. Her expression shifts from concern to shock, and finally to joy. One line is heard in the background. "You really think she's ready?" It's not clear who she's speaking to, but fans believe she might be talking about Amy, or even about Lindy stepping into a new role as a big sister. Whatever the context, Lou's reaction confirms that something life-changing is about to happen in the family, and it's not just the women of Heartland who are showing signs of change. Tim, usually stubborn and resistant to emotional conversations, is seen sitting with Amy by the lake. His tone is softer, almost apologetic. He says, "I wasn't there for your mother the way I should have been, but I want to be here now. For you, for her." It's a powerful moment that suggests Tim is finally trying to heal old wounds and be the father Amy needs as she prepares for what's next. This isn't the loud, arrogant Tim we've known. This is a man growing with age, softening in places hardened by years of guilt and regret. And then there's Jack, the emotional anchor of the series. He doesn't say much in the trailer, but when he does, it lands like thunder. You think it's an ending, but it's just the beginning. He looks directly at Amy when he says it, and that's when we know this season isn't just about mourning Tai. It's about building something beautiful from that pain. It's about legacy, continuation, and hope. One mysterious detail fans can't stop talking about is the return of Tai's old jacket. Amy is shown pulling it from a box, running her fingers along the stitching. But here's where things get strange. The camera lingers on the inside of the jacket, where a note is tucked away. We don't see what it says, but Amy's reaction, a mixture of shock and soft laughter, tells us it's something personal. Could it be a message Tai left behind before his death? A letter he wrote for their daughter? Or something else entirely? Something that triggers the shift we're now seeing in Amy? There's also growing speculation that the Borden family grows teaser doesn't refer only to Amy and Lindy. Some fans believe that a distant relative of Tai's might be introduced, perhaps a cousin or half-sibling no one knew about. The trailer includes a brief glimpse of a young man stepping off a bus, holding a duffel bag and looking out at the Heartland ranch for the first time. Who is he? No name, no context, just a look of familiarity as he gazes toward the house. This small scene has ignited massive discussion online. Could this be someone connected to Tai's past? Is Amy about to discover that the Borden name has more history than she realized? With all these emotional threads tangled together, new life, hidden messages, returning memories, and mysterious arrivals, one thing is clear: Heartland Season 19 is preparing to reshape everything we thought we knew about the Borden family. It's not about replacing Tai, it's about evolving his legacy through Amy, through Lindy, and perhaps through new members we never expected. And if the trailer is any indication, the emotional payoff we've all been waiting for might finally be here. Within the narrative structure of Heartland Season 19, there emerges a compelling subtext. The emotional and psychological reverberations of Tai Bordon's legacy are not only lingering, but actively influencing the arc of nearly every major character. The trailer is subtle in its delivery, yet layered with symbols that strongly suggest Tai's presence is not fading into memory. Rather, it is being recontextualized to serve as a foundation for future growth and emotional breakthroughs within the Borden family. Most notably, the trailer features a brief but deeply symbolic sequence. Amy in the barn, late at night, looking up at the stars. As her eyes fill with tears, a whisper, almost inaudible, echoes in the background. It's unmistakably Ty's voice saying, "You've got this." The technical quality of the sound suggests it is not a flashback, but rather a new recording, potentially repurposed from unreleased audio or re-recorded by Graham Wardle himself. If this is indeed a newly integrated voiceover, it marks a strategic narrative decision, one that enables the writers to bridge the emotional gap between past and present without undermining Ty's original departure. This auditory cue aligns with another motif in the trailer, the recurring appearance of Ty's old truck, now fully restored and back in use. Lindy is shown climbing into the passenger seat, eyes wide with excitement, while Amy hesitates at the driver's side door. There is no dialogue, but the scene carries heavy emotional weight. The vehicle, long associated with Ty's character, now becomes a metaphor, representing both the inheritance of memory and the act of moving forward while carrying the past with grace. The message is clear. Ty's legacy is not static. It is dynamic, inherited, and transformative. Moreover, Amy's character arc appears to be undergoing a significant recalibration. For several seasons, she has operated from a place of emotional containment, a survival mechanism following her husband's death. However, the trailer suggests a shift toward emotional re-engagement. In one frame, Amy is seen writing in a journal, her voice narrating softly, "I thought I closed that chapter, but maybe I was just afraid to keep reading." This line signifies a crucial thematic evolution, one that moves beyond grief and into renewal. From a screenwriting perspective, this pivot is essential. It signals the end of narrative stasis and the reintroduction of risk, vulnerability, and transformation, all hallmarks of character-driven storytelling. Complicating the emotional landscape is the introduction of a new character whose brief appearance has raised considerable speculation. A woman in her early 30s appears in 2 isolated shots, once in the vet clinic and once speaking to Jack in private. Her demeanor is cautious, yet emotionally charged. No name is provided, but the editing suggests her role is consequential. Industry insiders posit that she may be connected to Ty's past, perhaps a former acquaintance from his time away, or someone with knowledge of personal matters left unresolved. If confirmed, this would add a fresh layer to the season's emotional architecture, providing new context to Ty's legacy and potentially introducing challenges or revelations that could reshape Amy's understanding of her late husband. The Borden family dynamic also undergoes further exploration through Lindy's development. No longer the passive child observing adult grief from the sidelines, Lindy is portrayed as increasingly inquisitive and emotionally intelligent. Her interaction with the horses mirrors Amy's early journey, but with one crucial difference. Lindy's emotional references now include memories of her father, not as abstract stories, but as real, formative moments. A sequence in the trailer shows her speaking to Spartan Ty's former horse, saying, "I remember what he told me, to be brave, even when I'm scared." This small line is structurally significant. It ties past to present while implying a deeper internalization of Ty's ethos. For a child character, this kind of emotional continuity is rare, and it signals the show's intent to begin transferring emotional responsibility to the next generation. A sophisticated narrative choice that ensures longevity while honoring legacy. One additional detail, easily overlooked but vital in interpretation, is the reappearance of Ty's old camera. Amy is seen developing photos in a makeshift darkroom, something never before explored in the series. Among the images is one particularly striking shot of Ty holding Lindy as a baby, looking directly into the lens. The implication is that Amy has found an undeveloped roll of film, perhaps one Ty left behind. This introduces a narrative device, a literal and metaphorical undeveloped memory that can be used to unveil new truths, prompt emotional closure, or even open the door to new revelations about Ty's life and intentions before his death. Taken collectively, these elements signal a carefully structured emotional arc for season 19. While the physical presence of Tai Bordon remains absent, his symbolic presence is more potent than ever. Through voice, objects, flashbacks, and emotional echoes, the writers are effectively executing a narrative resurrection, not to undo the past, but to mine it for deeper emotional truth and forward momentum. This approach honors longtime viewers, respects established canon, and introduces fresh complexity in a way that keeps the story relevant and compelling. As the dust settles on the emotional waves stirred by Tai's symbolic return, Heartland Season 19 sets the stage for something long overdue: transformation. After years of static emotional tension, Amy's storyline seems finally ready to pivot, and not just gently, but with bold, risky steps that signal a rebirth not only for her character, but for the entire Borden family. The trailer, while careful not to spoil major plot lines, drops several hints that the narrative is moving toward healing, growth, and something fans have been craving for seasons: forward momentum. The biggest clue comes in the form of Amy's decision to rebuild not just emotionally, but professionally and romantically. In one of the most talked about shots, Amy is shown standing in front of a new wing being added to the Heartland Ranch. The sign reads, "The Borden Center for Equine Healing." This is more than a physical structure, it's a metaphor for reconstruction. It implies that Amy is taking her pain, her memories, and her legacy with Tai and transforming them into purpose. She's not abandoning the past, she's building something with it. This move carries significant narrative weight. It suggests that the writers are re-establishing Amy as an agent of change, no longer reacting to life, but creating it again. But the most unexpected twist lies in Amy's evolving relationship with Nathan, the quiet, steady rancher who was introduced seasons ago but never fully developed. The trailer subtly reintroduces him. One blink-and-you-miss-it moment shows Nathan walking beside Amy, both of them smiling, not just politely, but with a kind of relaxed intimacy that hasn't been seen in Amy's interactions since Tai. There's no dialogue, no kiss, no grand confession. But that's precisely what makes it so powerful. The silence, the looks, the comfort, it all suggests something deeper forming beneath the surface. This time the writers seem prepared to go beyond hints and drop storylines. They're planting seeds that could bloom into something significant. It's important to understand that this isn't about replacing Tai. In fact, the narrative does everything it can to avoid disrespecting his memory. Instead, it introduces the idea that love is not limited to one lifetime experience. Tai's impact on Amy is eternal. But eternity doesn't mean isolation. The message is clear. Healing is not betrayal. Moving on is not forgetting. And Amy choosing to open her heart again is not about rewriting history. It's about writing a new chapter with the same honesty and depth that defined her love story with Tai. Meanwhile, Lindy's role continues to grow in ways that mirror her mother's journey. One powerful moment in the trailer shows her entering a horse competition, not under Amy's instruction, but under Jack's watchful eye. It's a moment of independence, of self-definition. Lindy isn't just Amy's daughter anymore. She's becoming her own character, with her own stakes and emotional landscape. The series appears to be laying the groundwork for her to take a more central role in the years to come, continuing the legacy of Heartland while forming new connections with both the audience and the core narrative. And then there's Jack, the emotional center of the ranch. His storyline has always been subtle, deeply rooted in quiet strength and generational wisdom. But even Jack seems to be on the cusp of change. The trailer reveals a scene of him sitting alone with an old photograph, one that appears to be of his late wife and a young Tai. The way he looks at it, with both grief and resolve, hints that Jack too may have some unfinished emotional business. There are whispers that the season may explore more of Jack's past, including secrets or sacrifices he's never spoken of. If true, this would not only deepen his character, but add layers to how the Borden family came to be what it is, not just emotionally, but historically. In many ways, Heartland Season 19 feels like a reckoning. The writers are finally confronting the emotional paralysis that has held the story back since Tai's death. But they're not doing it with sudden drama or unrealistic plot twists. Instead, they're using what Heartland has always done best: emotional truth, slow-burn transformation, and deeply rooted character development. The result is a season that feels earned, authentic, and more than anything, hopeful. The trailer's closing moments reinforce this tone. Amy and Lindy stand side by side, looking out over the fields as the sun begins to rise. Lindy asks, "Do you think he'd be proud of us?" Amy turns, smiles softly, and replies, "I know he would." This single exchange carries the emotional thesis of Season 19. It's not about forgetting Tai. It's about honoring him by living fully, by growing, taking chances, loving again, and building a future that he would have wanted for them. The Borden family is growing, not just in numbers, but in heart, in courage, in purpose. And as season 19 unfolds, one thing becomes clear. This isn't just a continuation of the story. It's the beginning of something new.